Up, everybody? Welcome back to the Open Matt Show. I am your host, as always, Matt. And today we got a special pre-recorded episode for you. I'm going to be going over my picks for UFC 327, Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. This is a very good card, so I am going to be started on the early prelims, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to go over every single fight. I'm going to kind of fly through these, and I'm just going to pick who I think is going to win for the fights I care about, the name value fights, quite frankly. Call me casual or not, let me know down below. We're going to go ahead and start with Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. Going to be honest, guys, I think Kelvin kind of has this in the bag. I see this fight going one of two ways, but regardless, I think Kelvin's going to win. Either Kelvin finishes Luque in the first round because he catches him with something nasty, and Luque's bloody brain can't handle that. Or two, it's a lazy, barn burner, sloppy fucking fight that just isn't fun to watch. That's going to get booed out of the fucking arena. One of the two, no in between. And if I had to pick one, I'm going to lean towards Kelvin Gastelum defeating Vicente Luque, probably via finish in the first round. I truly do think that. I know, you could say Luque has fought tougher competition. I fully disagree with that. If we take a look here, I think Kelvin's fought the tougher competition in his last two. You got Stoltzfus, which he won, and then you got Joe Pyfer. Pyfer is kind of carrying here. But we look at Luque, he fought Joel Alvarez. That's not bad, but Joel Alvarez has been absolutely solid, so that's a valid L there. And then he lost to Kevin Holland, which that is also a valid L. But then you kind of look at the run Holland went on after that. He fucking lost to D-Rod, dude. Are you kidding me? Which we'll get to Kevin Holland later in the video. But, Kelvin fucking beat D-Rod, I'm pretty sure. Pretty recently, too. At 2024. I guess it's not that recent. But point blank, I mean, I think it goes without saying. When Kelvin fights, he doesn't look the best, but he looks healthy. At least he looks like he can fight a little bit more. When Luque fights, he looks like he shouldn't be fighting, honestly. Physically, he's in better shape. He'll be the more in shape fighter. But I just don't think he can take those shots anymore. And I think he's been washed for a while. So, it'd be cool to see Luque win, but I got Kelvin Gastelum, and I think he's going to do it in the first round. I truly, truly do. So let's go ahead and move on to not Chris Padilla, unfortunately. Well, I guess we'll talk about Tatiana Suarez versus Loopy Godinez. What the hell? Because I actually have a signed numbered card of Loopy Godinez. I wish I had it around here, but I do not. I used to have it on my desk right here because that was the first auto card I've ever pulled. But anyways, she's going up against Tatiana Suarez. I think Tatiana's just going to whoop her ass. I like Loopy, but, Tatiana just seems like a higher level. But I got to shit on Tatiana a little bit. A lot of you motherfuckers had her beating Zhang Wei Li after like a 3-year layoff. If you thought Tatiana Suarez was going to beat Zhang Wei Li after the 2 to 3 year layoff, shame on you. That's all I'm going to say. Shame on you. But I got Tatiana Suarez here. She's great and all, but she'll never be champion, in my opinion, unless a Mackenzie Dern-esque situation happens. That's the only way she's touching that fucking belt. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics. This is a tough one for me. I think I rate Ribovics actually pretty highly. I think he's a decent striker, but I think this is going to more fall on where exactly Gamrot is in his career. I think prime Gamrot fucking smokes Ribovics. There's not really any threat there. But Gamrot now, it's kind of hard to tell. I feel like he has a good performance and an off performance and a good performance and an off performance. Point blank, he's not in his prime where he's having these consistent, magnificent, powerful performances. So I'm not sure how this one's going to go. I am going to lean Gamrot because I do think that if Gamrot really wants, he'll be able to grab a leg of Ribovics and just kind of take him down and hold him down there. But Ribovics could really just kind of keep him at range, just hurt him, use his own grappling there. I don't know, but I rate Gamrot actually really highly. I know they said that about Ribovics, but I rate Gamrot even higher. I thought it was going to be fucking Oliveira. I know that's a silly opinion. Hindsight is 2020, but I still think Gamrot is. I don't think he's Ribovics level yet. Quite frankly, I don't think he's that down low in his career. He's not in that deep of a dip in his career. So I got Gamrot here. Probably decision. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll go with Gamrot. Next one, we got a big fan favorite one, I would say. We got Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown, Randy Rude Boy Brown. This is a really good fucking fight. I mean, it makes you wonder how the hell have these guys not met before? But who cares? At least they're fighting now. This is just going to be a fun fucking fight. And weirdly enough, I think Holland is a lot better than Randy Brown. I do. But I don't know what the fuck has been up with Holland lately. It just seems like he doesn't wanna fight anymore. Seems like he doesn't take it serious. I don't know. Like, that might be crazy for me to say, because he's still out there doing it, but he's just not fighting like the guy that he needs to fight like. He's not fighting as crazy. He seems a little too content to sit there and take shots, not take as many risks. Now, obviously, that's for a lot of reasons. He's gotten a lot older, his injuries, um, and his financial status, right? He talked about how he's probably good on money now. So if that's actually the case, then what it's gonna take. How does the quote go? Oh my god. Sorry, my alarm went off. But how does a quote go? It's hard to wake up with silk sheets or something like that. That's low key the vibe I've been getting from Holland lately. But this is prime for prime. Obviously, I go with Holland. But as we've seen in the last year or two, this is no longer the prime of a lot of our favorite fighters. So because of that, I am gonna go with Randy Rude Boy. I just think Holland gets a little too content with taking shots, and he just gets too content in there. Like, he plays around too much, he kinda sits there in front of guys, lets them kinda score points and tee off. Now, I'm not saying Randy Brown's gonna finish Holland, that's not what I'm saying at all. If it gets into that kind of fight, a firefight where they're trading blows, I got Holland any day. But I just think the Rude Boy fight's a lot more technical, and he's going to be more active. He's going to be going for it, going for points throughout the entirety of the 15 minutes. Whereas Holland probably won't really pick it up and start looking to win until halfway through the second round when he realizes, oh shit, I'm about to lose again. Because I think he's going to be in there trying to clip farm, everything like that. This is who Kevin Holland is, and I kind of hope so. That'd make for a fun fight. But I think that's going to cost him the victory here ultimately. So I got Randy Brown here by unanimous decision. If anyone's getting finished, it's Randy Brown getting finished by Kevin Holland. So if Holland does win, I see it by finish. I don't see him winning a decision there. But I just think he's going to lollygag too much, and Randy Brown's just going to kind of make a gap there in terms of the points, and you know, he's just going to take it on the cards. So I got Randy Rude Boy Brown there. Next one, probably one of my low key most hyped fight for this card. We got Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. The Prides of Bellator. This is really fucking good. Pitbull coming off of a win, actually. I kind of forgot that he won his last one. But this is a really tough fight to call. If you ask me this for Pico's debut, I would probably say Pico. I don't know, man. He got slept pretty bad. And it's not like Pitbull's the kind of guy to do that to him. Pitbull is not Lerone Murphy. The thing is, Pico looked pretty good before he got knocked out viciously by Lerone Murphy. He didn't look bad at all. He had good cage control. And yeah, he was just, it seemed like the fight was about to be a domination for him, or at least heavily favored towards him throughout the time, until he literally like waddled into a spinning back elbow. Like I said, Lerone or Pitbull is not Lerone Murphy. He's not gonna throw out anything like that. He might throw a spinning back fist or something, but Pico isn't gonna waltz into it like he did Lerone Murphy. At least I don't think. He might, because he might not respect Pitbull like that. But I do still have hope in Pico. I don't think I was never a part of the group like kind of same with Patchy Mix. I was never a part of the group where this is the best fighter outside of the UFC, blah, blah, blah. He could come in and beat the champions now. But that was never me, right? I never believed in that. If you're not in the UFC, you're probably not the best, odds are. But I do think that Aaron Pico still is really fucking good. And I'm not going to say the Murphy fight was a fluke. It wasn't. He got fucking slept. He waltzed into that. No amount of training would have changed the way he walked in that moment, quite frankly. But Pitbull doesn't bring those same weapons. He doesn't bring that same threat level. And now that Pico is aware that Pico was always aware that could happen to him, but now that he's aware that, or reminded that that can happen to him at any given time, I think he's going to fight a lot more a lot more shamelessly in terms of the wrestling, in terms of just cage control. He's probably gonna get booed a lot, but I really see him going out there and just kind of bullying Pitbull. Pitbull's gonna land some good shots. Pico's gonna probably try to strike with him at first, but I think Pico's not gonna waste any time into putting pressure on Pitbull and just getting him down on the mat. And who knows what he'll do from there. I don't think we've seen enough of Pico in the UFC to really make a good, accurate prediction on what he'll do. We can watch all his old fights outside of the UFC, but obviously none of that tells you how a guy is going to do once he actually gets to the big stage, the big lights. So I'm going to kind of take a shot here. I'm going to go with Aaron Pico. I just think like physically and like, uh, just yeah, I think Pico is the better athlete. I think he's quite frankly the better fighter. Um, and he just needs to prove it. He needs to put it together. If he puts all that together, he's a very dangerous individual. Not better than Lerone Murphy or Movzar, clearly, but he'll still be up there. Definitely above a Patricio Pitbull. So I got Aaron Pico. I'm not sure how, but I just think he will win this. I can't say finish. I can't say decision. I really don't know, but I do think Aaron Pico is going to end up winning this. Pitbull could win. Just stay active, stay bouncy, just keep landing shots, fucking knock out Pico. You never know. But I don't think Pitbull's gonna do that. I don't think Pico's gonna give him the chance. I think every time Pitbull is gonna go to sit down on a shot, Pico's just gonna take him down, or body lock or something like that. God forbid Pico gets slept again. If he does, then I don't know who would have the worst run in the UFC, Patchy Mix or Pico, if Pico gets knocked out. But let's not talk about that because that hasn't happened yet. So let's go ahead and move on. Like I said, I got Aaron Pico here. Let's move on from the prelims to the main card. So now we're going to be covering every fight on this main card. We got Cub Swanson, the last WEC fighter versus Nate Landwehr. It was a great documentary by Uncrowned Ariel Helwani on Cub Swanson. It's worth watching if you have nothing else to watch. But his last fight was in fucking 2024, man. Listen, normally I would say Nate. Normally I would just say Nate's going to come in and smoke his ass. But Nate Loki doesn't have a chin. And Cub can hit. I mean, Cub hasn't fought in a minute. Or at least in the UFC. And Nate has. Now, that could go either way, right? Like I said, I don't think Nate really has a chin, and we've kind of seen that to a degree in his recent fights. Cub Swanson, we can't really say the same, but my rule of thumb is when a guy has over a year and a half of time off, and once it hits the 2 to 3 years, they're just not going to win. And that's how I felt about Tatiana Suarez too when she fought Zhang Wei Li. I was like, this motherfucker hasn't fought in 3 years. Yeah, all these people think they're going to win. This is a nice story, Cub Swanson. This is a good matchmaking by the UFC, honestly. It's kind of win-win here. If Cub wins, cool send-off for the final WEC fighter or whatever, an OG with a recognizable name. Or he gets fed to, a future OG, Nate the Train Landwehr, just kind of a fan favorite there. But I am gonna go with Nate. I'm gonna go with Nate. I do think Cub is like better than Nate in almost like every facet. But like I said, his last UFC fight was in 2024. Nate may not have the chin, but he has that. He doesn't have ring rust. He's going to be on go the second that bell rings. There's going to be no feeling out moments for him, as we know. And I'm not sure how Cub is going to do with that. But who knows? Cub might fucking do the Robbie Lawler, Nico Price here and quote unquote knock him out and then retire. You never know. But I'm going to have to go with Nate. Again, his last UFC fight was in 2024, 2 years ago. It's really hard for me to pick Cub Swanson here as much as I love him. So I got Nate the Train via, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to imagine Nate finishing Cub or Nate winning a fucking decision against Cub Swanson. But I just cannot overlook that time off. So I got to go with Nate the Train here. So for our next one, we got the Battle of the KOs, Battle of the Weak Chins. We got Dominick Reyes versus Johnny Walker. This is a really good one, a fan favorite matchup here. I'm gonna keep it a buck, guys. I think Walker's gonna smoke Reyes. I think he's gonna knock him out really bad in that first round. I know Walker doesn't have a chin, and both of these guys, neither does Reyes, but both of these guys have power. But that's right. Let's just assume it's as simple as that. Let's not include physical primes, age, things like that. Look at their reach. 77, that's pretty good. 82, plus he has 2 inches of height. His leg reach has an extra inch there, but that just kind of adds to this. If we're talking about, like, if we're memeing somebody's going to get knocked out in the first, it's going to be Reyes. Because if they both stick their arms out at each other, Walker will be able to touch Reyes, and Reyes won't be able to touch Walker. It's literally that simple for me. Walker, yeah, we meme he doesn't have a chin, this and that, but he gets knocked out by hard fucking hitters. It's not like he was getting tapped and getting knocked out. And I could say the same for Reyes. He got slept by Ulberg. Ulberg hits really hard, but I mean that was kind of the inevitable outcome we were all waiting for. It was nice, the little win streak Reyes went on. That was nice for, OG, quote unquote OG fans and all that. But we all knew it was a matter of time until it ended the way it did. And now we're here. We're past that moment, and we know what comes next. Walker's gonna knock Reyes the fuck out in the first round. If Walker gets knocked out and loses this fight, it's because he lost it. It's because he was tweaking, because he was playing around or some shit like that. Not because Reyes is better. I actually do think Walker's a lot better, and if he really wanted, he could probably sleep Reyes with like a nice flying knee. Reyes doesn't have the slickest entrances when it comes to his striking technique. But who am I, right? So I got Johnny Walker here. Like I said, I mean, if we're talking about a battle of the glass chins, the dude with the longer fucking hammer is gonna win. Pause. And that's what Johnny Walker is. So I got Johnny Walker here via KO in the first round. Next, we got Curtis Blaydes was a Josh Hokit. Josh Hokit was getting a lot of headlines, and a lot of people are upset that he's fighting Curtis Blaydes. They think he's getting fast tracked. One, who the fuck else would you put at heavyweight to quote unquote fast track to move up? It's just Josh Hokit. He's the only fucking prospect in the UFC right now that's probably worth a damn, at least at heavyweight. And he wants it. He was calling the shot. He got it. Good for him. A lot of people hate his gimmick, everything he does. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I don't get it. It's not for me. I don't find it too funny. But like, I weirdly do. I'll kind of watch a clip. It'll come up on my feed. And it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like watching a dumpster fire. Now that I feel like that's even too insulting. It's not good. It's not a good character. It's not a good gimmick. It's a little annoying, dare I say. But some of the clips are a little funny. The Waldo Cortez one about the babies, I thought that was funny on Ariel's show. And you know what? It's working for him. He's getting good headlines. He's getting good media, everything. And hell, it got him to fighting Curtis fucking Blaydes. But I'm gonna be honest, guys. I think he gets his ass beat here. I don't think he's ready for it. Blaydes is big. Blaydes is a lot bigger than him, and their face-off, that was pretty clear. I mean, look at this weight, 258 versus 234. Now, Blaydes is a proper heavyweight, and so was Hokit. Don't get me wrong. He was, what was the NFL practice squad? He got to be a big motherfucker just to get on there, and he got to be athletic as hell. So I don't. It's not like he's completely outmatched here. It's just in that face-off, he looked unsure of himself, and I don't really know what he can bring to the table that Curtis hasn't already seen before. It's not the wrestling because Curtis fought fucking Stipe in DC. Not the striking because Curtis already fought Tom Aspinall. I mean, it could be. You never know. What did Hokit say? The control time is going to get him or something like that. Maybe, but I'm going to be honest. I think Blaydes might be able to get him out of there, or at least hurt him very badly in the first rounds. I do agree that as the fight goes on, it plays into Hokit's favor, but I'm not really. I feel like we can't even say that. He hasn't had a proper fucking 3-round slobber knocker, as they say, and he hasn't really shown us that much. The fights he does win, he's kind of steamrolling through guys, and he's looking good. Do not get me wrong. Josh Hokit is legit. Like him or not, he's fucking legit, and he deserves to be a ranked heavyweight. But going up against Blaydes ain't no joke. And these Blaydes is a lot bigger than him, so he's gonna need to bring some skill to take down Blaydes, to hurt Blaydes. Now I imagine Hokit's just gonna, like you said, control time, wrestle him, grind him out, get him tired because as a smaller guy, more athletic guy, he's probably used to that, kind of tiring these big guys out. But I want to see how well Hokit takes damage. I want to see how he handles adversity. That's the big one. Um, and we got to see how his chin is. So Curtis Blaydes is the guy to test that. And until Hokit proves himself, I simply cannot choose him. I'm gonna have to go with Curtis Blaydes here. I'm gonna say unanimous decision, but I could totally see like a ground and pound stoppage or something. But Hokit's got a lot on the line here. I kind of respect it, honestly. When you do a character like that and you put yourself in these big positions, it's all or fucking nothing. He's playing for keeps, and that's cool. So next one, we're at the co-main. Azamat Murzakonov versus Paulo Costa. Murzakonov should win this. I feel like it's pretty straightforward, but I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna go with Paulo Costa. um, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna be 100% honest, guys. I think ever since USADA stopped doing the testing, I think all of these guys are juiced to the fucking gills again. I think we're slowly getting back to that point, which is good. I'm a fan of that. And I think Costa, secret juice, haha, meme and all that. I think he's generally going to come in as like revitalized Costa for whatever reason. This is just a gut feeling, a shot in the fucking dark. I know Murzakonov should go out there and like beat the shit out of Costa and probably finish him in like the first or second round. But I got faith in Costa, man. I was a Costa fan well before all the secret juice gimmick and all that. I was a Costa fan when he made fun of Izzy for having the same earrings as his mom did or something like that. Uh, us Costa fans, we remember that. And hopefully we get to see that true form of him back here. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of memeing here. I know Murzakonov is like highly favored to win this, as he should be. Costa brings really not a lot to the table that Murzakonov on paper hasn't faced already. But Costa has power. He has, some intangibles there, slick striking. We'll see. But clearly Costa's just shown kind of similar to Holland. He just doesn't want to do it anymore. It seems like not fully. Seems like he only does it when he has to for the money. He doesn't throw the way he used to. And we only saw glimpses of the OG Costa in that Whitaker fight. So I know I just shat all over Costa, but I'm gonna pick Costa here. I know Murzakonov's probably gonna win, but that's why you got to pick an underdog like Costa in a moment like this. $5 to possibly make fucking 50 or 500. I don't know. It's not a bad gig right there. All right, now we're on to the main event. We got Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg, the former male dancer, which that implies a few things. This is a really good fight. A lot of people are saying, Pereira ducked Ulberg. I'm kidding. Nobody's saying that. Not even Ulberg. But if Ulberg wins, that's going to be a big narrative coming out of this fight. At least if he goes out there and knocks out Prochazka worse than Pereira did. But let me go ahead and break it down for you. I'm not sure who's going to win this one, but I will say if the fight ends in the first 2 rounds, Ulberg won. If it ends any later than that, it's because Jiri beat him up. I actually see it going very similarly to the Khalil-Jiri fight. Seems like Khalil is winning. It's going to seem like Carlos is winning. He's landed nasty shots on Jiri in the first, second round, partially through the third. Then out of fucking nowhere, Jiri's just going to start laying it on him. He's just going to lock in and start dodging, dipping, ducking, and weaving. And he's going to really start laying it on Ulberg. Ulberg's going to be like, what the fuck? He's not going to be sure what to do. He's going to get tired in these later rounds. And Jiri's going to get the finish from there. Or Ulberg is going to catch Jiri early on and finish him. I think to beat Jiri Prochazka, you need that power. You do. If you don't have it, you're not going to beat him. And I think clearly in all of Jiri's fights, that's the way, that's the recipe. That's how you beat him. In the Khalil fight, if Khalil had more power, he would have beat Jiri. In the fucking Jamal Hill fight, if Jamal had more power, he would have beat Jiri because Jiri was getting his head fucking popped. And that does make me a little concerned. What if his chin isn't even a fraction as good of what it was his last few fights? Ulberg has serious power. He could actually hurt Jiri. So that's why I do think if it ends early, it's because Ulberg actually knocked him out. If it doesn't end that way, and it ends later, that's because Jiri just grinded him out and really put him through it, because Ulberg hasn't been through anything like that. A lot of people are kind of shitting on Ulberg. His best win is Old Man Jan. Gotta say, put some fucking respect on Old Man Jan. I thought Jan won that motherfucking fight. Jan hasn't lost a single fight in his last few. I don't care. Hell, I even thought he beat Pereira until Pereira got up raising his hands at the end of that round. That kind of secured him that victory, and fair enough. But this video isn't about Jan, right? Point blank, Carlos is legit. And when he beat Jan the way he did, the rusty old Jan, he looked good. And no random ass Dana White fucking privileged dude can do that. You have to actually have some kind of skill to beat even an old man Jan in a fight like that. So I think Ulberg has really good hands, really slick hands, and I think that'll give Jiri a lot of problems early on, like I said. But we haven't really seen him fight somebody unorthodox like Jiri, somebody that's the genetic freak that Jiri is, that could take so much damage, yet still deliver that much and more after like 15 minutes of pure cardio. We haven't seen anything of that level from Carlos Ulberg, nothing inhumane like that. And who knows, maybe this is the fight we are going to see it. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. This might be a bad pick here. I know I'm kind of burying my lead, but I'm actually gonna go with Carlos Ulberg. I know by saying that, I'm saying I think Carlos is gonna knock Jiri out. See, I feel like I don't even fully believe what I'm saying here. I'm not sure, but weirdly enough, other than Pereira, I think Carlos is the kind of guy that could do it. Just because Carlos doesn't mix it up with kicks, knees, shameless overhands like Khalil. He's actually a slick striker, a slick boxer, slick puncher. I think that could really benefit him, especially when Jiri does those weird like half steps kind of into range and stuff like that. I think Carlos is going to do a good job early on, fucking boom, pop, 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 popping the jab. Nice straight right or left, something like that. And that could really hurt Jiri, especially if Carlos is on him early on when Jiri has trouble kind of getting the hang of it. But like I said, if it gets past that third round, Carlos is probably fucked. I can't think of when we've seen Carlos in the fifth round. Let me go ahead and take a look. I'm really not sure. Let's look. Carlos Ulberg. His last time fighting 5 rounds was literally never. So yeah, pretty much. If Carlos doesn't knock out Jiri in the first 2, I should say, Yuri's gonna dog walk him past the third. If that doesn't happen, then Carlos is actually really fucking good. But I am gonna go with Carlos just because I'm not sure I fully believe in Jiri's chin anymore. I think he's gonna knock out Jiri Prochazka, maybe in the first or second round. I love Jiri, but dude, it is so hard to pick him. When you go back and watch his fights, it's like, oh my god. If this were any other guy, he wouldn't be getting away with what he gets away with. And one day it's going to catch up to him. And one day I'm going to predict it correctly. So I got Carlos Ulberg via KO/TKO in the end of the second, maybe halfway through the third. If that doesn't happen, then I'm fucked. Carlos is fucked. And he's going to have to go back to male dancing. So like I said, this is a really good card, guys. Let me do a quick once-over of my picks before we get out of here, because this video is long as shit. I got Kelvin Gastelum. I got Tatiana Suarez. I got Gamrot. I got Rude Boy Randy Brown. I got Pico. I got Nate. I got Johnny Walker. I got Curtis Blaydes. I got Paulo Costa. And I got Carlos Ulberg. See, I almost want to say Jiri Prochazka, but I'm gonna be edgy on this, and I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg. But yeah, guys, that's really all I got. I was gonna say a quick video, but this shit's about 30 minutes. So sorry I didn't have a live this Wednesday for my few fans that like to watch. If you don't know what I'm talking about, as you can see on my right, on my left, I don't know, The Open Mat. It is a live MMA combat sports show where I talk about combat sports, MMA, boxing, RAF, wrestling, a little bit of fucking everything. We're live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It is actually a live call-in show. I haven't checked my Discord in a while, so maybe some of you have tried. But if that's something you're interested in, join my Discord. Link should be in the description. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. I will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, back to normal schedule. Again, I had to kind of abruptly cancel this week's show because of some things I had to deal with during the week. But that's all right. We'll be back full swing next week. So follow me over on Twitter at Open Mat Show Live. I respond a lot quicker to tweets over there. And comment down below, what do you think of my picks? Do you think Ulberg can even knock out Jiri Prochazka? Do you think Jiri Prochazka can be knocked out by anybody other than Alex Pereira? Do you think Vicente Luque is ass? And just how annoying is Josh Hokit? Comment down below. Let me know. Thank you guys for tuning in. Truly, I love all of you. I love talking about sports to the camera, specifically combat sports. And the fact that even one or two of you are willing to watch this shit, that truly makes my day. Like, comment, any little interaction goes a long way. And yeah, I will see you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, the Open Mat Show. Let's fucking go. See you.